I just finished shopping out this arena pinball machine, and I've been dying to do a gameplay video on this. So when you shop out a game completely and you got to test every switch, you got to understand the game and how it plays, what all the features do to make sure everything works, and you really learn the game. And I actually had a lot of fun learning this game and playing this game, and I really enjoy it now. Like, it plays so much better than it did before, and I want to talk about everything there is to do on this game. So we're going to talk about the basic game rules, things that I love about the game, that I hate about the game, and we're going to talk about how to get your multi-ball, your bonus multipliers, pretty much everything there is to do on this game. Now, I want to start out and just say, I think this game is very underrated. I think a lot of people don't appreciate it for what it is. So this game is definitely completely different than almost every pinball I've seen out there. It's got some uniqueness to it. So I'm going to jump right in and talk about this skill shot and this plunger assembly. So if you've seen any of my other videos, I always talk about how I love a good game with a good skill shot. So some games are kind of lame. You just hit a button and it blasts the ball. There's really no skill involved in it. Maybe you move a light around or something with a flipper. Some of them have some really lame skill shots, if they have a skill shot at all. And I love a game with a really cool, fun skill shot. You know, this is part of the skill of pinball. When pinball first started, this is what it was. Like, you're plunging a ball up into like a Plinko effect pinball machine. So this game has a awesome skill shot. You're going to basically launch the ball up into the pit. So the arena, it's a gladiator themed game. It's kind of reminds me of like Spartacus Blood and Sand meets Dungeons and Dragons. You're pretty much these gladiators, you're battling in the pit, you're battling these monsters in the pit. So this is the pit up here. So you're plunging the ball up into the pit, and the ball can circle around and finally drop into one of these holes. So it takes a little dab of that old school kind of original pinball feel with, you know, that plunger skill, and delivers it to the game. So wherever you land is basically the purse you win for the battle that you just fought. So the bottom hole is worth 25,000 points. Then it goes up to 50,000, 75,000, 100,000 points, or 1 million points when the light's lit. So this is the part of the game that people either love or hate. So this million points is definitely overinflated for the rest of the point values on the game. You know, so playing the entire playfield on a normal single ball doesn't accumulate anywhere close to the points that you can get off of this skill shot, which makes this skill shot the most important part of this game. Now, that's what's unique about it. That is what no other game has, is the dependency of learning how to plunge the ball properly with this plunger assembly. And I think that that's kind of a cool feature of this game, if you take the game for what it is. So right out of the gate, you have a chance at 3 million points on this game from each skill shot on each ball for a 3-ball game. Now that's not it though. You can keep coming back to this pit throughout the game. So after this skill shot is made, the ball drains, it's going to come down here, deliver it to your right flipper. So to get it back up here again and battle in the pit, you have to complete the letters PIT. P-I-T. So automatically, right off the plunge, it comes down, it takes out your T in PIT. So that's one light you don't even have to worry about right out the gate. Then, if you shoot up this inner lane, you're going to hit your I and your P. It's going to respot your million up here, and it's going to allow this gate to close up here, and when you hit this ramp, it's going to deliver it back into the plunger. Now, that's a cool feature of this game, too. It has this gate system down here. So when you hit the ramp before you spell pit, it's just going to open this gate up and deliver the ball back down to your right flipper. So the only way to get it back here is to spell that pit and open that back up. So now you could plunge again for 1 million points. So you could really focus your entire gameplay on just that if you want. That could be one strategy, but I don't think it's the ideal strategy, and I don't think it's where a lot of the fun comes in. So let's talk a little bit more about this pit since we're on it. So there's some other lights up here, right? Other than these basic point shots and this million light, over here you have what's called a ramp value. Now this is on both sides here, indicating that when this is lit and the ball hits here, you're going to collect whatever the ramp value is. So every time you make this in-lane shot, which is going to light your pit, it's going to build up a ramp value, and that's how you collect it. That's nothing significant. That's nothing that you're really going to go for, but just wanted to address it for what it is. So that is one of these lights. Now, the other one is very significant, and that's your extra ball. So the extra ball in this game, you have to get by killing the guards behind the wall. So as you take out these drop targets of the wall, you can see that basically it's knocking out your wall lights. Now, when you knock down this final piece of the wall, it starts to hurry up. And you can hear the music change, and there's adrenaline. It's speeding up and speeding up and speeding up during this hurry up. And you know you're timed, and you basically have to take out the guard behind it, these guard shots. So pretty much you're knocking down the wall, beating down the wall, killing the guard, you know, and that's going to light your extra ball in the pit. You know, so that's kind of a cool feature, a cool hurry up. And I will say too, the soundtrack on this game is awesome. I love it. Some games really lack in the sound quality. This has an awesome sound effects, awesome. It really brings you into that battle and that arena feel. It even has a cool, like after the game ends, it just keeps that tune going. It has a final ending. It's a really cool sound effect, and this hurry up is kind of part of that. It almost builds your adrenaline, like you're trying to hurry up and rush and get these targets before the wall resets. So I'm going to start that hurry up here. You can see it. Obviously, I turned the volume down on this machine so you could hear me talk, but you'll see when this hurry up's over, it'll reset the wall. So during this period, I'm just going to, yeah, there we go. So it reset, we missed our opportunity. Now, one technique, though, you could start taking down a portion of the wall, and then you could sneak the ball behind the wall and start picking off the guards behind it. So once you do that, then, you know, you don't have the pressure of the hurry up to try and finish it off. So then, if you notice, it spotted your extra ball up here. So what you're doing now, you're stacking the pit. That's what I like to call stacking the pit. Now that's part of it. So now, when you come up this ramp and you come back into the pit, you have a better opportunity. If you missed a million-point shot, you can get an extra ball. Technically, that's the shot I'm going for, though. I want that extra ball, because that extra ball can turn into multi-millions. Whereas your million shot is only going to give you 1 million points, you know. This extra ball can give you another whole round of chances at that million shot. So that's really what I'm going for. Now, that's part one of stacking the pit. The second part of stacking the pit is actually going for your cis targets. So basically, you're defeating this cis monster here. So you're knocking these down. Boom! I completed cis 1. Now, what that's going to do, one, is completing these cis targets. You can see it says advanced X power. So you're building your bonus multiplier, your X power on your playfield. And also, completing both of these is going to spot your special up here. So when you complete cis 1 and 2, and you can see here, destroy cis 1 and 2 to light special. That's going to light your special. Now, in my case, I set the game up for a 3-ball game, and I set all the specials in the game to favor extra ball. So for a free play setting, that just makes sense. So now we're going to complete cis 2. Boom! You can see it lit your special up here. So now this is a fully stacked pit. You've got your ramp value, you've got extra ball, and then now that the pit's stacked, now you want to take this shot. So this shot, you've got a very good chance of you've got like 4 opportunities here for an extra ball, 1 for 1 million points, and then the worst case scenario is actually hitting that ramp value at the end. That's the one you want to avoid, of course. Now, the negative side of this, you did that work down here to stack the pit. If you miss, you hit the ramp value, or whatever the case may be, pretty much it wipes it out. You got to start over again. So you got to restack it again if you want to have that opportunity at a stacked pit shot. So that's you know, a love-hate part of the game. It does create that challenge of the game, which makes it a little more difficult. In some ways, if it didn't have that, it might make it a little easier. I'm not sure, but that is one kind of cool part of the game. Let me try and close this out here if I can get my finger in there, which I don't think I can. So we'll just keep moving on. All right, so we've talked about the pit, the challenges of the pit, And that is a big, massive part of the game. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is your multi-ball. That is also a big part of this game. So obviously you want to focus and trying to kill and collect this million points. But the other side of this is what happens when you shoot the ball up this spinner lane. It comes up here, you've got your 3 lock lights. So you go down this lane, takes out one of them. You can manipulate these lights by hitting your right flipper. So you want to, it takes 3 shots up here to take out all 3 lights. You got to be quick though, make sure that you get the ball down that lit lane, and then it's going to lock your first ball. Now here's the cool thing. Once it locks your first ball, it's going to kick out another ball for another plunge shot opportunity at 1,000,000 points. Your 1,000,000 points light's going to be lit. So you get that opportunity. So now that makes that multi-ball worth it, because by doing that, it's kind of similar to, okay, now I got to make these pitch shots and hit this ramp again. And I will say, once you're in that same ball, you no longer have that advantage of this pit taking out your T target. Now you also have to take this T target out, which requires you to basically knock down a section of this wall, get the ball up here, and come down here to get your T in your pit. So to relight your pit multiple times, it's doable, but it's not as easy as doing it the first time. So now, on this multi-ball, now you're getting that 1,000,000 point shot without having to do that little bit of work to get it. And you're stacking your multi-ball on top of that. So that's an advantage of the multi-ball. So then, you plunge your second ball up. Now it's only going to relight one of these lights after that. So you have to just hit one shot and you can lock your second ball. Boom, now you got a third ball, another shot at your 1,000,000 points without doing that extra work to get your pit lit. So that right there is advantageous enough to go for that multi-ball. Now you're going to take that shot and you actually get your multi-ball. So the way the multi-ball works, it basically takes the point value of the entire playfield and multiplies it by your bonus multiplier. So this is where it gets interesting. You pretty much need to do the advanced work here to build your bonus multiplier before you get the multi-ball. I mean, you can start advancing this during multi-ball, but to really make multi-ball worth it, you want to have multi-ball with an 8x bonus multiplier. So that's one thing I don't like about this game, is there's no really good objective during multi-ball. Like most games, you have multi-ball and you say, okay, during multi-ball, I got to make these specific shots to get awarded a jackpot. This game doesn't really have that, other than you're collecting points like you naturally would times 8. So that is the one downside about the game, but it's still worth it though. At an 8x multiplier, you can build up, a couple million points during a multi-ball. You can actually do that if you do it right and you focus and you're able to juggle those balls and keep them on there. So I want to bring out one more feature of this game, which in my opinion only becomes useful during multi-ball, and that's this light spinner shot. So when the ball comes down the in lane, it lights the spinner. It doesn't light it very long actually, so you don't have a whole lot of time to hit it. But during multi-ball, once that's lit and then you're hitting it, it basically, you're getting, I think it's 5,000 points per flip of that. So you're hitting that hard and you're giving your spins. Now that is also multiplied by 8x. So that is one thing I kind of go for here, is the balls are naturally coming down, you're going to hit that, so I go for that spinner shot a lot. So one is you're getting those points, you're coming up here, you're collecting your in lane points, and it actually ties that ball up for a few seconds or whatever, gives you time to focus on the other 2 balls during the gameplay. So I think that's a good advantage and a good game strategy during multi-ball. And of course, you're kind of doing everything else, taking that out, you're hitting your ramps, everything else you do normally, keeping those balls in play. So that's the other side of the gameplay. So to recap my personal strategy, I start the game with focusing on stacking the pit. During that, I'm taking out Sys 1, Sys 2, I'm building my bonus multiplier while I'm stacking the pit. Then I'm taking that million shot. I'm trying to build up the millions, right? While I'm stacking the pit and building my bonus. Hopefully I'm picking up extra balls and getting points for that along the way. Once I get up to my 8x bonus multiplier, then I focus on my multi-ball. So then I'm bringing it up here, I'm getting my million point shots, and I get my bonus, or I get my multi-ball coming down, and I'm playing the multi-ball for an 8x game multiplier, and juggling those balls around. I think that's a really fun strategy to do, and you're actually gaining points through the gameplay as well as focusing on that million point shot. So that's, I think, one fun way to play the game. And there's not a ton of depth. I mean, that's pretty much it. That's the whole game. So once you've completed those objectives, you've done everything that this game has to offer. That's the negative side of the game. It doesn't have like a lot of modes and in-depth, rule set and stuff like that. But it is a fun and challenging game to do that. At 3 balls, that still gives you a good challenge for the game. And I found myself keep hitting that start button. I get close to that, and I keep hitting that start button. And I also do want to bring up that this ball lock shot can be a little difficult. So coming up here, if you don't hit it exactly center of the shot, it could brush the end of one of these rubbers here and actually bounce back and kick back and not fully lock it. So that can become a challenging shot right there. So it can be a little challenging sometimes to build that multi-ball and play that multi-ball. So it's not super easy by any means, but I think it's a great game for beginners because it doesn't have a very aggressive outlane drain. It doesn't feel like it's cheating you a lot. So that's a cool, fun part of the game as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this gameplay video. Hopefully it makes you a better player. If you get an opportunity to pick one of these up, I think it's a great game to have in your mix or to play out somewhere if you find one on location somewhere. It's a fun game to play around. Fully shopped out and fully working is a must for this game to be fun. So this one, the way it is, it's fully decked out and I'm really enjoying it. I hope you guys enjoy it. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for future gameplay videos.